This show is brought to you by
Forbes Middle East reveals the region's top travel and tourism leaders, and IHC's Q1 net profit rises 20%. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Forbes Middle East has unveiled its second annual ranking of the region's top travel and tourism leaders, highlighting 100 influential personalities making the Middle East one of the world's most desirable destinations. Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, chairman and CEO of Emirates Airline and Group, tops the list for the second consecutive year. Akbar Al Bakr, CEO of Qatar Airways Group, comes in second, and Hilal Saeed Al Marri, Director General at Dubai's Department of Economy and Tourism, rounds off the top three. Hospitality firms, hotels and resorts dominate the list with 59 entries, followed by aviation with 31 entries, and then tourism authorities with 8 entries. View the full list on ForbesMiddleEast.com. Abu Dhabi's international holding company saw Q1 group net profit of $1.17 billion, representing a 20.5% year-on-year rise. It achieved a net profit margin of 27.1%. IHC saw revenue increase 50% year-on-year to $4.28 billion in Q1. Growth was supported by positive performance in the conglomerate's key segments, including asset management, healthcare, IT and communication, real estate and construction, marine and dredging, financial services, and others. Meanwhile, IHC unit Alpha Dhabi Holding has acquired a 36.4% stake in the National Corporation for Tourism and Hotels for $199 million. The stake was purchased from an existing shareholder. The acquisition makes Alpha Dhabi the single largest shareholder in ADX-listed National Corporation for Tourism and Hotels. Alpha Dhabi says it projects strong long-term growth potential of the UAE's hospitality, lifestyle, and tourism sectors. Dubai Investments saw a 55% year-on-year rise in Q1 net profit to $85.6 million. The group's total income rose 34% year-on-year to $277.8 million. Total shareholder equity rose to $3.58 billion from $3.34 billion in Q1 2022. Total assets remain stable at $5.71 billion. Officials say the response to Dana Bay, its premium beachfront development in Ras Al Khaimah, has exceeded expectations and is progressing well with its expansion into other geographies. Saudi's economy is projected to grow at a slower pace of 3.1% in 2023 compared to the robust 8.7% growth it saw last year. Global Data's latest report on Saudi reveals that while economic growth is projected to slow, it's still higher than the average growth of 2.4% recorded during the 2018 to 2022 period. The economic growth this year is expected to be driven by the non-oil sector, which is aided by the diversification efforts as part of the Vision 2030 plan. The UK economy grew 0.1% in Q1 in line with economists' predictions. The UK saw an unexpectedly sharp 0.3% drop in March. Officials say strikes were one of the factors weighing on the UK economy at the start of this year. Also, widespread falls in activity across the services sector, a tight labor market, interest rate hikes, and the after effects of Brexit weighed on growth. It marks a weaker rebound than any other major advanced economy. Meanwhile, British lawmakers launched an investigation today into the fairness of the food supply chain. They're trying to understand why households are facing the highest levels of food price inflation since the 1970s. They say they're examining how profits and risks are shared from farm to fork and the level of regulation. They'll also examine the impact of external factors on the supply chain, like imported food and global commodity prices. The IMF kept its economic growth forecast for the Philippines this year at 6%. It's projecting next year's GDP expansion to come in between 5.5% and 6%. The Philippines saw stronger than expected economic performance in Q1, putting it back on track to meet its growth goals for this year and next. Let's take a look now at today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking. It tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's wealthiest people. Our biggest winner today is LVMH's Bernard Arnault, up $6.2 billion with net wealth of $241.8 billion. Our second biggest winner today is Alphabet's Larry Page. He's up $3.7 billion with net wealth of $99.4 billion. And our third place winner is his counterpart, Sergey Brin, up $3.5 billion with net wealth of $95.1 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest Billionaires news. And video game fans around the world flocked to shops today to get their hands on the new edition of Zelda. It's one of the most successful franchises in history and now central to the success of Japanese giant Nintendo. Gamers queued for hours before shops opened in cities from Paris to New York to Tokyo. They were desperate to be among the first to play Tears of the Kingdom, which features the exploits of Princess Zelda and elf-like warrior Link. I'm Ramya Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.